Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.Eliances.com.
All right. Well, I got to tell you again, it's just been so incredible of just everything that we're doing, the incredible people that we're interviewing, really, that are helping to build the community. And by the way, thank you for the feedback that we continue to get when I recently interviewed the founder of Entertainment Network. So make sure that you go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com. All right. You know, well, one of the things is that we don't really hear a lot about, but it still is very serious and out there, is about HIV. And I'd like to introduce our next hero today, Amanda Lauren. She's a model and also advocating for HIV awareness. And you could reach her on Instagram at Instamanda_Lauren. And of course, we'll have it on our website at Eliances.com, Eliances.com, because it's the only place where entrepreneurs align. Amanda, welcome to the show. So excited to have you in that, and so many things going on. And I really want to talk to you about a lot of things. Let's jump though right into it. Amanda, we really don't hear much of anything in the news anymore about HIV. Is it still is it still out there? Is it still something we should be concerned about?
Of course, it's still out there. And yes, we should always be concerned about, obviously, as we see with the pandemic here, we have the treatment for HIV. So it's definitely different than it was, say, 20, 30 years ago. But that doesn't mean that, we still shouldn't be protected and educated about, how to protect yourself from it. And if you do contract it, how to then manage it from there. It's quite manageable, actually.
So is there an actual cure for it?
At this point, no, there is not. It is more difficult to cure viruses than it is to say bacteria. With bacteria, we take an antibiotic, and then in the course of however many days, it usually resolves itself. With viruses, it's a bit more challenging. In HIV, while there is no cure, there is medication that regulates your viral load to nil. So that is something that has been around now for quite some time. And this is why we don't see as much death to HIV, given that the person is on the right medication and compliant with that medication regimen.
All right. So how did this come to be on your radar? Because we may have some viewers, listeners out there that don't know the background story in that. So please share with it of how this entered your life.
Sure. So my ex is Charlie Sheen. He's, famous guy. And he, 5 years ago, came out with his diagnosis. I was there pioneering with him at that moment. So yes, it became a part of my life. And I think it's important to discuss that, mainly because people hear the word HIV and it's the stigma that surrounds this word that people just bottle up and get very scared. And that's normal in its own right. But in the same sense, I think if the public was more educated about it, it would be less of a scary thing. It's much more manageable that people understand, and you can have a healthy relationship with someone that's HIV positive, with the right protection and the right medical management. It's completely possible without contracting it.
So when you heard that Charlie Sheen had it, first thing that's going through your mind?
When he first told me about it, I was kind of, I wouldn't say surprised. I was a little bit taken aback, of course, but mostly I was just compassionate to him. I was empathetic with the situation. I kind of, didn't mean to normalize the situation, but I told him that it is, a manageable disease, and there's a lot of variables involved that matter, such as viral load and, general health when you have any kind of illness.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, yeah, who knows what others would have done and stuff. So, but you're listening to me, David Kogan, and I know what we're doing here. We're interviewing Amanda Lauren. She's a model nurse. As mentioned, she's the ex-girlfriend too of Charlie Sheen. She's advocating for HIV awareness. She could be reached at Instamanda_Lauren, because you're listening and watching me, David Kogan, host of the Eliances Hero Show. So make sure that you go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com. Now, you've been on the covers, right, of Maxim, Playboy, Elle Official, And tell us about that. What other things are you doing now? What other projects are you involved with?
Well, I'm still doing modeling. I'm still doing men's magazines. I have a couple coming out. Playboy South Africa covers coming out soon. I'm in talks with Maxim Belgium for a cover, as well as Playboy Denmark. And generally, I have my own OnlyFans account, which is not pornography as it would imply. It's more just an exclusive place for people who are my fans that can direct message with me. And I share my content there exclusively or before anywhere else. That's kind of the modeling thing. I've transgressed into fashion as well. So I'm actually working with a brand now, Collini. It's a fantastic Italian brand. They are a brand that just solidifies boldness, a little bit of flamboyancy. They're very colorful, very bright, very edgy. So it's kind of right up my alley. And I will be featured on 2 covers for a fashion magazine in South America in the coming months. And apart from modeling, I'm going back to school for my MBA currently here in London.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic. That's awesome. Awesome. I think a lot of people don't know. I mean, we had on the former CEO of Playboy, actually, that I interviewed. Again, you can check that out on Eliances.com. But what a lot of people don't know, and maybe you could share with us, Amanda, is how long does it take to actually get that cover shot of what's picked? In other words, how long are you in the studio or in the area where they're just taking pictures? Because I don't think people realize how much work goes into it. Not only that, even setting you up to be able to have the picture taken.
I think that really depends per person. Of course, when you're dealing with any kind of modeling or cover, you have to have, a makeup artist, you have to have a hairstylist. Oftentimes you have a stylist. For Playboy, it's not necessary because you are kind of naked. But still, I mean, there is a sense of style in what you're doing, regardless of nudity. It's the right lighting. It's the right photographer. You have to just get the right position. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's so taxing.
Yeah. We're getting some questions and comments from our viewers and listeners and that. One of them a couple of them actually would like to know, what other famous men perhaps have you dated or been around?
Oh, I've been around several. Dated, I wouldn't say, that many, but I've been on a couple of dates with a few that I'd like to forget. We'll put it that way. No, I remember one date specifically. I had been chatting with this guy. I was set up with a mutual friend, and he was so polite, called me on the phone. We had, nice short conversations, and we just weren't in the same city at the same time. And finally, our schedules aligned. Long story short, we meet up, and I've got like leather cowboy boots on, and it's down in the south of the United States, of course, is where we were. And he's a vegan, so it just started off bad. And needless to say, he was just a really bad kisser, and he was kind of a jackass. We'll leave it at that.
Can you share with us who some of those names?
No, I don't share the names, no, because I just don't do that. I won't do that. But
no kiss and tell.
As I said, he was a jackass. We'll leave it at that. Take from that what you will.
Yeah. What type of advice, though, or secrets can you share, though, in regards to women that want to get into the modeling field, like to be on these covers? From the outside world, it seems, again, like a very glamorous lifestyle. I mean, you're traveling. You're in London right now, right?
I'm in London, but I live between Paris and London currently. So, of course, with the pandemic, I'm not traveling anyway because we shouldn't be. With modeling, any advice that I could give you is going to be different than advice you would receive 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and probably 5 years from now. And the reason is the digital market has completely shifted magazines as we know it. And pretty soon I would venture to say that certain magazines, including Playboy, probably will cease to exist. People just aren't buying mags anymore. So in terms of a cover, now they're coming up with these things called digital covers. So a lot of magazines are just solely online, and you can be featured online on their cover, but it's online. So it's just a changing thing. I think for anyone who wants to get involved into modeling, the best thing you can do is just start taking pictures and start putting yourself out there. Now with Instagram and all of these other social media platforms, it's very easy to put yourself out into the world and kind of be visible. And from there, you can see what happens.
Our listeners also want to know, because they're commenting about your skin, what type of beauty tips can you offer?
Oh, actually, I drink a lot of water. I drink like 4 liters of water daily. And I think for skin, I do have a regimen. It's simple. I do use some pricier products, but it's quite simple. It's just, face wash. And in the morning after I wash my face, I put on like a serum that's, good for anti-aging and rejuvenation and vibrance, shine, all of that. And then a good eye cream at night after I wash my face. Fundamentally, I think when it comes to skin, diet is everything, and water. So you really have to take in a lot of water. And I think that for me personally, having a very like lower carbohydrate diet, or having just all the natural whole food carbohydrates like your greens and vegetables and some fruits is the best way to go to get the best skin.
Great. And what's the serum?
It is SkinCeuticals, and I believe it's CE ferulic acid, but do not quote me. I go to the store and I pick it off the shelf, and then I know exactly what it is by looking at it. But I'm pretty sure that is what it is. It's a SkinCeuticals product, and it is in the pricier range. Lasts about 3 months. It's totally worth it. I highly recommend it.
Excellent. Well, Amanda, you're a champion for fashion and an advocate for those with HIV. You know what? That makes a hero. Amanda Lauren, model. Follow her on Instagram at instamanda_Lauren. This has been David Kogan with the Elias Hero Show.